Okay, so there's a rumor going around that major companies are looking to acquire Square. Who could that possibly be? Well, let's talk about this story because it's evolved a little bit. Let's get right into it. Okay, so this story originated from Bloomberg. Here's what they said specifically to sort of get you caught up. I'm going to go over, the what this story has gone through since it's been revealed. So, Bloomberg's Japanese branch is reporting that two bank officials familiar with the situation have told them that several parties have expressed interest in buying Square Enix. It is not known who exactly are interested in buying them. It is also not known whether the game department is the only one of interest or the company as a whole. So that's where the story started. That was late Thursday night, I believe, when this began happening. And obviously, I think a lot of us jumped to a conclusion of, oh, who could that possibly be? I think we all know. Um, so then on Friday, this is sort of the rebuttal to that story. So Bloomberg also said Square Enix Holdings Company rose 12% on Friday. That's on the Japanese stock exchange, the most in 8 months after the report from deal news website CTFN, which cited two unidentified bankers. So that's sort of weird because the first story cited themselves and then the second story cited somebody else. I don't know if it got picked, if this is a different writer or what happened there, but I'm going to assume it's a different writer who picked up the story that somebody else wrote that that was actually their own story. That happens sometimes when you have multiple writers working on things. Anyway, Square Enix said it had not received any proposals and wasn't thinking of a sale. The report also boosted some other gaming stocks in Tokyo, with Koei Tecmo Holdings Company rising as much as 2.9%. Okay, so who could this possibly be? Obviously, I think we all know the answer. It's either Xbox or it's Sony, if it's happening. Now, Square has said, okay, no, this isn't happening. We haven't had any offers or anything like that. Okay, maybe that's the case. Maybe what's happened is both of these companies have gone to the banks, and that's why the source is a banker. And they're saying, okay, look, we want to make this happen. We want to be able to present, this sizable offer to this company to acquire them. What do we need to do that? What do we need to get set up for? So they might be in early stages of doing this. Now, both Sony and Microsoft, Xbox and PlayStation would benefit greatly from this acquisition. There is an existing relationship between Square and Sony that has gone on for years. They've been they're almost synonymous with each other in being partners. However, Microsoft has also had a partnership with games like Tomb Raider being exclusive to Xbox over the last few years. So let's take a look at the whole library that this company would bring to a company who would purchase them. So first of all, what do you get when you buy Square? You get the entire Final Fantasy series. I think that's the one on the top of our head. But when you start digging into what that actually includes, it includes their entire mobile line of Final Fantasy games. It includes two mega MMORPGs, with Final Fantasy XIV being the one that most of us think of immediately, but also Final Fantasy XI. Final Fantasy XI is still actively played to this day. And it's great. You should, like, if you if you don't mind like messing around with old school controls and everything, Final Fantasy XI has a really, really good story. I played it again recently. Okay, so you start going beyond the Final Fantasy series. You start seeing Kingdom Hearts, the Saga series, the Dragon Quest series, another major series, the Bravely series, Bravely Default, the Nier series, the Octopath Traveler series, the Lord of Vermilion series, the Legend of Mana series. These are mega heavy hitters that any studio looking to get into the Japanese market, like Xbox is, would benefit greatly from having exclusively in their portfolio. So I think there's an easy case to be made for why Xbox would be looking to acquire this company. But anybody acquiring this company is going to just have a lot of gangbusters on their side. They also have a whole media branch, though. They work with properties like Full Metal Alchemist, Code Age were a few that I saw on Wikipedia, World of Mana, etc. They have series on Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is currently owned by Sony. Sony had a mega acquisition with Crunchyroll there, and that could be potentially why Sony is looking to acquire this company. Now you got to remember, Sony is also movies, right? So if Sony continues the good will that they've garnered with the Crunchyroll acquisition, that's a big feather in their cap for them. And they continue to expand that by acquiring a company like Square. Not only do they bolster their movie portfolio with the series that I mentioned, but they also bolster. Sorry, I got a text there. They also bolster their gaming portfolio with some of these megaton games. Now, there's also the mobile branch. Obviously, Sony, looking to hire somebody to figure out their mobile strategy, is also going to be interested in figuring something else out there. So that's going to be a big boon for them. And the big games coming around the corner that I saw off the top of my head were Forspoken and the new Final Fantasy, which is exclusive to Sony. So there's a big relationship there. Could Microsoft ever come in with a company that has this sort of established repertoire like PlayStation and Sony currently have? I don't know, but maybe with enough money they could. And, we all know Microsoft has the bank to, pay for what they need to. But when you've built that relationship over that long, I have to imagine Sony has a leg up with that sort of partnership. Some other franchises that are owned, if you start looking at the whole Square Enix library across all Square Enix subsidiaries and everything, you start to see Bushido Blade, some like classic games that could be revitalized and are being asked to be revitalized. One that was revitalized was the Tomb Raider series. So the Tomb Raider games are, a big hit with players everywhere. And then, of course, my personal favorite, the Legacy of Kain series, is still owned by, I believe it's Crystal Dynamics, which is a partner with Square. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, you would get access to some really, really good stuff. Speaking of current or former subsidiaries, there's also franchises like Sleeping Dogs, Crystal Dynamics we brought up. So there's Avengers, there's also Thief, and the mega success Outriders from People Can Fly was recently published by Square. So would there be any sort of partnership available there? So the question that it kind of comes down to is who would benefit the most from this merger? I think the answer is obviously Xbox. Xbox would benefit the most, but they don't have the same sort of established relationship as Sony does. And no matter who ends up purchasing Square, if it even is up for sale, Square has clearly said this is not something that's happening. So the story is more speculative than anything, right? But a lot of people have hypothesized that this is something that could happen soon, right? It'd be really, really interesting to see where it landed. I could see Sony coming in because they want that movie hit and they see the bonus on the terms of gaming. That would be a huge win for the PlayStation brand. They would basically be your place to go for RPGs. And Xbox, I don't think Xbox just has that sort of lineup. Like, once you get the Final Fantasy brand, you're golden, right? And we already know Final Fantasy 14 is playable on PS5, it's playable on PS4, and it's still not on Xbox. And you got an MMORPG just bringing in money. I can't think of a game that Xbox has. Maybe Minecraft would be comparable, but there's no monthly fee or anything for Minecraft. Of course, they are making money on that brand, of course. And there's a lot of really, really good IPs up for grabs here. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of let you guys know about the story. Who do I think would win? I don't know. I think it's like a toss up in the air. Microsoft could bring enough money to make it happen, but Sony has that established relationship. And sometimes that trust and that relationship is more important than money to people, right? Especially people at Square, I would imagine, value that quite a lot. So I don't know who would win in a bidding war between the two companies. It would be really, really interesting to see. Anyway, that's my video for today. I realize I'm posting it quite late. I got my second dose of Moderna, and I was not in good shape. I'm still tired, so sorry if I have a little bit less energy, but I'm doing much better today. Hey, if you like these sort of videos where I ramble, this one was pretty fun. It's sort of fun to hypothesize about and talk with you guys about it. You can hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. And as always, if you want to become a member, memberships are available. You just click that join button where you see it. That's it for this one. It was really, really interesting to sort of think about. I think both companies have a lot to gain. Who do you think should get it, and why do you think they would get it? So who should get it and who would get it and why? That's what I would like to hear from you in the comments below. I'm going to sign off for this one. Until next time, this is Destin. See you later. Bye.